Hi everyone and welcome to the channel that is Heartcore Healing. My name is Sue Quigley, and in this channel we know that healing starts from within, and we know that to effect positive change, to alter the atmosphere and environment that we find ourselves in, can only be done from a heart-centered space. We are drama free. That's not saying we ignore the drama, but we don't get involved. This isn't going to be a channel where I'm going to be discussing the various high profile figures on the world stage at the moment. We may observe them, but I won't be channeling them. I won't be passing my own comments on them and their behaviour, because what we do at Heartcore Healing is we recognise the mirror that is in front of us, the things that we are being shown, and we recognise these times of great change. And sometimes we have to allow things to play out and let ourselves be the observer. Noticing things that are happening out there, see what the corresponding energetic frequency is like inside of us when we observe these things. And we look to do the changes within. We look to ourselves to make change. So today is Monday, the 1st of May, 2023. I'm going to be doing a reading on the month ahead. I know that April was quite changeable. I did a mid-month reading, which was We're All at Sea, because we were. And I have to say, I feel like today, if I say is like the calm before the storm, I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves and think that there's doom and gloom and storms ahead, but it is going to be very changeable this month. The energies around us at the moment, and I'm not the only person that's commenting on this, I won't be the only reader out there saying this, but the energies are not set in stone. Things are so changeable at the moment. And it is almost like, well, it is. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. One day we can be feeling really strongly that something is about to occur, and then the next day it's completely off the radar. It's so bizarre. Things are so interchangeable that the best we can do is just hold on and do our best to navigate our way through them. The colour I got for this month was a beautiful, beautiful emerald green. And I've got this gorgeous malachite crystal. See that there? You don't have to have malachite to be able to navigate yourself through this month, but certainly some of the properties associated with malachite and that beautiful, beautiful dark green, that emerald green, is very prevalent for this month. It's almost like the signature colour for this month. Now, for me, that colour signifies healing and forgiveness. I think healing is just an ongoing thing, and definitely what we're all going through at the moment is a massive earth healing, planetary healing, evolutionary healing, as we are moving from the age of Pisces and now endeavouring into the age of Aquarius. But forgiveness is really key. We need to start forgiving ourselves for the people that we used to be. And I don't use those words lightly, because I think we are all being asked to change. We are all being changed anyway, whether we recognise it or not. And it's not to be feared, but it is to be aware of. There will be subtle changes going on. You might find, I think I said this maybe last month, you might find that things that you used to like, you're not so keen on anymore, that your tastes are starting to change. And I know that those that wouldn't even consider themselves spiritual are now sort of they are questioning things a lot more. They are feeling things a lot more. They are recognizing that something is adrift, and it is because we are being shifted. We can't stand still. The age of Aquarius is here to change us all, and it's going to take decades and decades for it all to occur. But nevertheless, we are really feeling the shifting changes now. So we have to look to forgiveness, to forgive ourselves for things that we may have done in the past that we wouldn't necessarily align with now. And we also have to extend that forgiveness outside of ourselves. You know, it's very easy to look at people when they say things and think, oh, that's not the done thing now, or oh, I don't agree with that, that's awful. But we must also forgive people who generationally, they come from a different generation and they're struggling to understand some changes and concepts that are going on in our world now. So as we strive to be more human, to be better humans, I should say, in terms of more compassionate and understanding. And maybe we're not accepting things that we used to accept years ago, and some of these things are good. But we must also be forgiving of the past and what we thought we knew best then. So forgiveness is really key of ourselves and others. And, you know, malachite as well is quite an abundant stone. And it's also a stone of joy. So even if you don't have malachite, you can meditate and ask to bring in the essence of malachite, and maybe, you know, bring in that beautiful dark green as well. And just sit with the energies that this stone has, this very special stone, those energies of, yes, we want to be looking at forgiveness, but we also want to be sitting in the energy of joy and abundance. It is an abundant world, and joy is always available to us. And by sitting in those abundant energies of joy, forgiveness does not become a chore, and it doesn't become an onerous thing or anything that is done with sadness, but rather a joy in that we have wider and greater understanding now that we can bring into our lives, that we can love ourselves in all our flaws and all our imperfections and love the wholeness of who we are. And in doing that to ourselves, makes it far easier for us to extend that forward to others as well. So let's press ahead and see what May has to offer us. As I said, there are some very, very changeable energies. I'm from the UK, and I know we have quite a few things going on. Not just an abundance of bank holidays, we've got 3 this month, but we also have the coronation of our King Charles III. And whether you would consider yourself a royalist or not, whether you would consider yourself a fan of the royal family and the personalities there, one thing we have to be clear on is this is a massive change energetically for us as well. This is a significant time of change, and this is where I am feeling the turbulence and the interchangeability of energies and the anything could happen. So I think what we have to do, if you're not a royalist, I'm not asking you to sit and watch the coronation, but what I am asking you to do around the weekend of the 6th of May is sit in joyful abundance, sit doing things that make you feel good. You know, if you're not a fan and you don't necessarily believe in the monarchy or the coronation, don't sit there sour-faced that weekend. Go and do something that really does make you feel good about life, really good about the world. It's a time of giving, but it's a time of, we have to all sit in joy and abundance to enable these greater energies to come in. We have to engage in joyful activities and things that make us feel fulfilled in order to make if you like, it's a bit like love bombing. Just love bomb that weekend, so we can encourage goodness to come from this event. You know, consider it as a portal for us all to be going through. And how do we want to go through an energy portal? We don't want to go through it sour-faced and miserable. Nothing is being forced upon us, but we can sit in joy. We can sit doing things that make us feel good and encourage these abundant energies to bring forth what we need. Would that make sense? So, in these turbulent times, what can we arm ourselves with? What is it good for us to be aware of? So I'm not using a tarot deck for this reading. It was quite interesting. I thought I knew what I was going to do, and then when I literally sat down and turned and started to get the camera ready and all of that, and I knew malachite was here as a stone for us. I knew the colour green was here, and as I was thinking about that, this deck, the Wisdom of the Golden Path, just came to my mind. It's quite interesting. I almost thought there must be a malachite card in there because they seem to go hand in hand. But the Wisdom of the Golden Path is a beautiful feminine oracle deck. This card has just jumped straight out, so I'm going to use this one first. Sorry, bit of a feather, a bit of fluff, and a feather has just landed there as well. Anyway, let me go on. Wisdom of the Golden Path is a beautiful, I think, beautiful feminine deck. So I also think it encourages softer energies. So I think with forgiveness, encouraging us all to be softer to ourselves, then maybe this is the perfect pack. I know this is the perfect pack. So the card that jumped out, a very green card. There's a theme, isn't there? And this is the card of wisdom. And I'm going to go and let this card actually build on what I was talking about before, the forgiveness. But is also the wisdom of the elders. Don't dismiss things that have gone before. Don't dismiss things that we thought we knew about when we were younger. But don't also dismiss that generational thing of, we might feel that some generations are a little bit out of touch with how we want to be in society today, but actually do not miss the wisdom of the elders. Because there is great wisdom within all of us that we carry from our ancestors. And it's calling us actually to recognise that wisdom is going to be quite abundant for us this month. I'm using that word abundance again. That's funny. I wasn't expecting to do that. And I've noticed at the top of this card, can you see the peacock feathers in the headwear that she's wearing? And the peacock to me is again I can't stop using this word abundance. And I think it's about the abundance of wisdom. It's about, don't forget how much we know that is going to be able to carry us forward, is going to be able to carry us through to our future. And we must stand tall. And the phrase I'm getting is standing on the shoulders of giants. That actually we can learn from our elders, learn from our ancestors, and take all the good wisdom that they have. And what our ancestors have is within us as well. So don't forget that we have great wisdom within us. So if at the start of this month, and it seems to be the start of this month, going through to about the 12th of May, if there are times when you think, oh my God, I just don't know what to do. It seems there might be things coming up where we think, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to be. This is all a bit mad. Then we can go deep and connect with the wisdom of our ancestors and ask for their help. Sit with their wisdom. And it may just be their strength and resilience that comes through that we can sit with and use to help us through times that might seem a bit crazy, a little bit up and down, a little bit like, it's almost like I get this expression that we might just be, I don't know what I'm witnessing here. I don't know what I'm observing. And it's saying, hold fast, and just connect. And actually, I am really strongly feeling that ancestral energy coming to the fore. And all the goodness of the strength and the resilience that our ancestors had when they were faced with incredibly difficult times, that helped them get through. And I feel that that's going to be something that we can really draw on. So, and don't forget the wisdom that we all have to know the right thing to do. Deep down, beyond. Now there's something here that is beyond what we might think we're seeing. It's interesting. I recently did a video about the third eye chakra, and within that, I was saying it's very easy for us to think that the third eye chakra is about us just becoming more psychic, increasing our psychic awareness. And yes, it is. But what it's also asking us to do is to see through the illusion of what's in front of us sometimes, to see the truth of what's really playing out. You know, sometimes we can be a little bit hoodwinked by what we see out there on our TV screens or our social media screens. It's not always giving us a true picture of reality. And so we must always be very discerning about what we're seeing as to whether that is the truth or whether we're being a little bit hoodwinked. So discernment is really key here, to go to our own wisdom. If we're not sure what the truth is, if we're not sure about what to believe, if we feel that we're being told one piece of information, if you get that little niggle that, I don't know, I'm not quite sure about that, then trust it. This is a time to really trust your gut, trust your intuition. Go to your heart center, ask for the truth. How does it sit there? So wisdom, and as I say, the 12th of May seems quite a key date, but I think it's just that period leading up to the 12th of May. Trust the wisdom that we have. Trust your own intuition and discernment. If you're being asked to consider, or you're getting the feeling that you're not getting the full picture, you're not really seeing or being given the right information, sit within your own wisdom, your own discernment. I get a feeling the messages I'm being given here all seem to be sort of early, mid-May. That's not to say this information isn't relevant for the whole month, but it seems to be that a lot of activity is going to be happening certainly within the first half of May. So building on that wisdom, what else is there for us to know? The cards are quite difficult to shuffle then. Be inspired, the flame of inspiration. I feel like there's a path for us to get through. There's a time for us to get through. 12th of May keeps dropping in my head, and it seems like get yourself through that discernment phase and then allow yourself to be inspired. And it feels like things will really pick up from the beginning of the month as well. Really start to take off in terms of, I do feel like we're in a bit of a, it seems strange to say, I feel like we're in a bit of a lull, when at the same time we're saying there's loads of really turbulent energies going on. But I feel as if there's a lot going on, but it's a kind of holding space at the same time. And it's a bit like wading through treacle. We kind of feel like we want to go forward and not really going forward. I feel like I've made a lot of movement, but it feels like it's 3 steps back. And so we're all a little bit like doing the doggy paddle. Yeah, you know, trying to keep our head above water, but not really making progress. That is about to change. There's a lot of heat from the 12th of May as well. A lot of heat, a lot of things being fired up. But think of it in a good way, things being fired up. It's things, you know, energetically starting to get going. And sometimes we might think, oh my goodness, it's the 1st of May and it feels like it should be kind of the 3rd of March or something like that, doesn't it? But things will really start to feel like they're speeding up, but things will just feel a bit more energetic and we'll start to feel like we're actually making progress. And pay attention to what you think you're being inspired to do. You might feel like you're being inspired to go in a slightly different direction. Now, that direction might be a sideways move, but don't worry about that. If your head is being turned to, you find your interest starts to lie in things that you're not usually interested in, just be really curious about that, you know. Maybe you were never bothered about reading fiction and all of a sudden you feel like you want to pick up a book and start reading a story. Do it. Follow what your unconscious mind is moving you to do. Yeah, allow yourself to be guided, to be, you know, so, you know, even if the word inspiration doesn't sit with you, what are you being drawn to do, or what do you just fancy doing? You might find yourself feeling like you want to try a new hobby, or you want to go somewhere where you've never been before, and it's like, oh, I don't usually go to those kind of places, but I'm going to give it a go. I think there's a lot of newness to come in that will feel like it's inspiring us, feel like it's lighting a fire within us, that flame of inspiration. And that's because it comes with the energy of newness and the excitement that comes with that. So don't, I said, you might feel as though your tastes are changing. Allow that to guide you. If you're moving away from the sort of things that you used to do and you just fancy trying something new, do that. And it may be that you kind of catch up with yourself a bit later. You've gone and done something and then thought, God, I wouldn't usually do that, or I wouldn't do it like that. Start to notice all these subtle changes, and don't be alarmed. It's quite exciting. What am I being moved to do? What am I being changed to do? Sometimes when we have opinions and beliefs, and then all of a sudden we feel like they start to change, it can make us feel a bit like, oh, I used to believe in that and now I don't. What does that say about me? It doesn't say anything bad about you. If anything, what it does say is that you are flexible enough and you are open enough to consider something that maybe you hadn't before. And that's what this card is all about. Being open to consider things that you maybe wouldn't have considered before. The flame of inspiration is here to widen our awareness, to open us up to new things, new ways of being, new things to consider. And it's not to say that you'll just wake up one morning and fancy doing something completely different. It could be a slower change. It could be quite subtle. Your interest could just be piqued into reading about different things, looking at different things, going different places. Allow it all to be okay. Be okay with that kind of inspiration and change. So I feel that's taking us through to mid-month, but we'll continue onwards. Those sort of changes, those subtle changes will continue going on. I really do want to ask about the end of May. I know I said I was feeling like everything was leading up to the middle, but I really want to get a full reading on this. So, we'll see what comes up. They can either answer or I can be guided in a different direction. But I'm going to specifically say we have wisdom, which is gearing us up for the 12th of May. And then we've got the flame of inspiration, which is asking us to be open, to open our awareness and consciousness to new things. And I would like to know, where does that take us? Where does that take us to the end of the month? Mid-May onwards, what are we looking at? The cards are shuffling themselves in a very weird way. But here we go. I've got two cards stuck together, so we'll go with two. New beginnings. Open your awareness to something new, leading to new beginnings. That's what it's getting us ready for. And usually I can be the sort of person that sort of says, oh, this isn't like massive. This is massive. I'm telling you now, this is massive. We're all being pushed for new beginnings. I feel like this is quite big. I feel like it's kind of now or never. I know it is quite big, moving into a whole different age of evolution for humanity, moving into the age of Aquarius. And this is new beginnings. It is. And that's why it's being quite difficult at the moment. A lot of things playing out, which are easy for some people, and for some people the change is just too big, because it is massive. So when we are being asked to be inspired by different things and to open up our awareness, it's because it's readiness. And we're still at that choice point I've spoken about before. We can choose to go different ways. It doesn't have to be all good if we don't choose wisely. That's why I said We must all engage in the energy of joy and abundance. If we're going to sit there on the sidelines and look in at all the drama and go, yeah, I don't like them. Look at what's going on there. What's there to be happy about? That is exactly the sort of energy we're going to take ourselves into. Is that how you want the future of humanity to be? Is that how you want it for generations to come? Because it can be. But I think we're going to choose differently. The reason I think that is because I've seen the other card, and that is rose petals, and I'm going to come on to that in a minute. But new beginnings, have no doubt, it's really important that we lay down the right foundations at the moment. Things are turbulent because we have to have big things happening because it's big change. We are moving into something big. We can't just shy away from that. This is huge this year. 2023 is huge in terms of change for us all. And it may be that we don't see massive change just yet. Although I'm thinking that we kind of see massive change. Does that make sense? We're seeing massive change on a small scale. Probably not, but anyway, go with it. But this is why things are up and down, and why it's so important that we concentrate on change within ourselves. Don't worry about out there. If you've seen enough of my videos, you'll know it all starts here. We have to do it. But I'm going to finish with this card, Rose Petals. For me, when I interpret this card, when I've done a lot of one-to-one readings using this card deck, and Rose Petals to me, oh, isn't it interesting? Remember I said let's love bomb that weekend? That's a bit like the rose petal card. It's almost like love bombing in a good way. We can choose the right beginning. We can choose to go the right way. It feels like towards the end of May. And again, we've gone back to green energy. Told you, green for May. Green for May. Let's all bathe ourselves in green. Beautiful. And green, the colour of forgiveness, yes, but also the colour of peace, the colour of the heart chakra. It's very much a love colour, which is why it sits so well with rose petals. This card is all about love. Love bomb yourself. That's what this message is. Whatever ever happens this month, you must bombard yourself with love. Love and forgiveness. It's really important you do that because we are changing, because we are entering this new beginning phase. It's almost like we need to purge. And you know, I was really not too well a couple of weeks ago. I felt really sick all week, sick to my stomach, literally. Lots of things were going, I just felt really unwell. And I wasn't the only one. I know some other people are as well. And lots of people are becoming ill and finding it hard to shake. And I know that there's all sorts of explanations about that with our immunity, with lockdown, those sort of things. But honestly, there's an energetic reason as well. It's energetic purging. We're moving energies within us. Stuck energy is moving. This is why we're being reminded of things about ourselves. This is why we're being encouraged to release things, to forgive ourselves, because energy is moving. And sometimes when it's been stuck a while, it's a bit of an energy purge and it can physically make us feel unwell. And that's why we have to really love ourselves, really be good to ourselves and kind to ourselves and encouraging to ourselves. So that's what May is all about. Don't forget the wisdom that we have within us, the wisdom of our ancestors that holds true. Be inspired. Allow our awareness to open up your minds. It will raise your consciousness. We can only raise our consciousness as a collective by being more open to what's going on, have our awareness open to new things that fulfill us, that will bring us joy. Because newness is upon us. It's time for new beginnings. It's time for... So we may be purging something, but it is time for us to make a choice about how we want that to be. So more than anything this month, we must engage in the rose petal, energetic, all over us. That sentence did not make sense, but you get what I mean. Use rose petals, use the energy of the rose petal card to fill yourself up with appreciation for yourself. You know, if the term love yourself really gets on your nerves, I know some people might find it a bit twee or a bit triggering, then have it all about appreciating yourself. Yeah? Admire yourself. See how well you've done just to get here sane. Yeah? I'll come back in mid-month and do another check-in, see how we're going, and if there's any other new messages that need to come through. I'm feeling there is one, and I'm feeling there's one all about crystals and how we need to harness what's beneath our feet to help us through these times as well. So I'll let that one percolate and see if we bring that through in a couple of weeks as well. But if you like my videos, go and have a look at my channel. There are some older videos on there. Not many, because this is a new public channel that I've started here. But please please share if you think it's good. Please encourage people to watch it. That's just how the system works. But also because I think there's some good messages here that I'd love to share with people. And subscribe to my channel. And that would be wonderful to have you on board. Let's start a really nice little community here where we accept all and sit round the table with everyone and hear and love each other and understand each other as well. So take care, and I'll see you again soon.